My fellow Sierra Leoneans, on this day, February 3rd, 2025, I come for have a conversation with Una about the impact of Donald Trump's second term on Sierra Leone in general. Donald Trump done in power for only 14 days, 2 weeks exact. And the decisions them way they don't put in place already that affect Sierra Leone in many, many ways. So today, I come for let we can begin to have a conversation as to how as Sierra Leoneans we for take responsibility for our government and for the government of Sierra Leone to be more focused now on taking care of the needs of Sierra Leoneans. So several issues I will address in this presentation. One, na WHO. Two, the African Diaspora White House Conference. Three, immigration. Four, USAID. Five, foreign aid. Six, the dual citizenship. And seven, HIV/AIDS and implications of the Donald Trump presidency. So if you are interested in any or all of these topics as to how they might impact Sierra Leone, stay tuned, listen to the presentation. So the first one, as you all know, one of the first things Donald Trump did was to get the United States out of WHO. And this is very, very troubling, especially for a country like Sierra Leone, where the World Health Organization gets a significant impact, especially with children's vaccination and things like polio and measles, where they give the vaccine beginning of birth and as the pikin that they grow. I guess some of you go say, well, if US pull out, what are the implications for WHO? Well, US, I mean the main funder of WHO, the person where they put the most money for letting get WHO offices around the world and also for buy vaccines and things that we then go distribute free, malaria medicines, mosquito nets and things them way that they distribute across a country like Sierra Leone because I focus on Sierra Leone. And so with the US pulling out of WHO, it left the organization for stranded and would struggle to meet the needs of the demands across a country like Sierra Leone. Additionally, you all may not know this, but the person where Donald Trump appoint for be which you can call the Secretary of Health and Human Services, or which you could call the Minister of Health in Sierra Leone. Now, one person will not believe in vaccines for children in many ways. And if you appoint somebody who is a conspiracy theorist on the impact of vaccines on children, you know they are going to limit the production and use of vaccines on children the way we know say don't save with lives. Like the COVID vaccine, or small give TB, you get polio by mouth and polio injection. All of these vaccines now would not be available, or limited resources will be available to the children of Sierra Leone. And this is concerning to us because we know that then health clinic then with WHO may run sensitization, things like cholera, if cholera break in Sierra Leone, who would handle it now? If Ebola break na Sierra Leone, who would handle it now? If Mpox spread, who would handle it? So it has several implications. Yes, WHO still there na Sierra Leone, but from now to the 4 years, we've only been in 2 weeks, when Donald Trump may be leaving office, the damage may be too great for the picking them we go born as Sierra Leone. And so in the end, we as Sierra Leoneans get for come together, and we as Sierra Leoneans get for focus. So that's one issue with the impact Sierra Leone, Donald Trump. The second one, as una know, every year, the sitting US President Joe Biden can invite the African leaders to come to Washington, D.C. under the African Diaspora Conference for begin to think about how they would make the resources and the economy of the African countries then grow. Well, most of you would not know this. Donald Trump outright on day one canceled the African Diaspora Conference and the White House Initiative on African Leadership. So that is out the window. And that would have significant impact. Because now during those African Diaspora Conference, that leaders that they articulate their vision for their country, resources, and ways to build their economy. And now, as we say, Joe Biden may put African leaders then at the table to discuss issues. Joe Biden even invited the Kenyan president to a formal state dinner. Now we are no longer at the table. Africa is on the menu. And we're on the menu in many ways. And so the next issue I'm going to talk about, which I've also addressed, is that of immigration. So we see on the list of possible deportees 1,530 something Sierra Leoneans to be deported. Yes, most of them not get paper, and some of them are criminals, and others are just great people. So what are the implications of this as it relates to? All these people, however bad they may be, at some point in time, they all mean the same. Penny, penny for Christmas, for pre-day, for birthday, some of the billows, and all of that stuff. These people who are going to come back home are going to be deported, and their family members are going to struggle. But on top of that, they're going to go back to Sierra Leone, to a country that is struggling. They're going to add additional burden on our government, on our systems. Some may go with business, some have skills, some not get no skills. And so it's going to be a little bit disruptive. The number seems high, but it's very minute relating to the 8 million people in Sierra Leone, that if you infuse 1,500 people, it's not going to be that significant. But every person get about 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 person, where at some point in time inside the year depend on them. And if you're looking at 1:10, it's going to impact at least 15,000 people in Sierra Leone, where it will cause an economic disruption to those family members. Some man they also not ever build on, and all the work man, the women they work at the house then for build some people also where they will not get paper, women they try would be impacted. So there's an indirect impact on that. The next item, as you know, one of the first things Donald Trump stopped was the foreign aid. It stopped foreign aid across the world. And so let's talk about Sierra Leone. The MCC was part of foreign aid. It's a grant given to Sierra Leone for improved electrical grid and things. And that money would have been used to help to build the electricity structure in the western area and in areas across the country. Some of you may not know this, but only 29% of the entire landscape of Sierra Leone is equipped to handle electricity. So you're talking about significantly that money was needed. Even though Congress has pre-approved MCC money, Donald Trump is pulling back even on approved budget by Congress, impacting significantly programs, projects, and countries around the world. So without MCC, where is Sierra Leone? We are struggling to make ends meet, and then that becomes an issue where the MCC funding may be taken away from us. We hope that Congress will continue to push back to make sure that the funds the way that they allocate to be spent on MCC and other projects go through and Donald Trump not use presidential veto to override them. And this leads me to USAID. You all may not know this. USAID, this morning, February 2nd, 2025, Donald Trump signed a document to shut down USAID. USAID, where they give money, where they give food, where go give bulgur, where go give corn meal, where go give oil to countries in need during crisis, like when there is a famine, na Somalia, na Sudan, in war-torn areas where they try for rebuild, like where Salon they try for rebuild after the Civil War. Those aids that came in, the food, the structure, soy meal, picking food the way that they give around the world. As of today, Donald Trump say America cannot and will not give any of these by shutting down USAID. It comes as a shock to all of us, even to Congress. One of the senators even today say that if Donald Trump no open USAID, he is going to stall the appointment of his cabinet ministers because they know how important this is. That if you stop AIDS around the world, our leaders, our governments, and our economies are not strong to survive on their own. And America is being that big brother to support and help areas that are famished. The implications will be great for places like Sudan, Somalia, the desert area, and war-torn areas. So this is really serious. The next piece I want to talk about is this PEPFAR. You all may not know what PEPFAR is, but PEPFAR is part of USAID and an extension of WHO. You see, President Bush in 2003 realized that there were 35 million Africans with AIDS and HIV. As a result of that, he put into place a program where they call US President's Emergency Plan Relief for AIDS. It's PEPFAR. PEPFAR had a program within the USAID AIDS for provide free medication to Sierra Leoneans that were afflicted with HIV/AIDS. As we know, there's a lot of people, probably close to 50,000 people or more in Sierra Leone, who are diagnosed with HIV and who are taking this treatment and getting it from the US government under President George W. Bush. Well, he may not carry from George W. Bush to Obama. He carried it. To the first term of Trump, he carried it. To Biden, he carried it. And now, because they're freezing foreign aid, and with the closure of USAID, and also the impact of WHO, the question becomes, are they going to get this supply of drugs in Sierra Leone for help reduce the load, the HIV load on people who are diagnosed as positive, so that they will not get to the status of AIDS? And they've been very successful because the drugs are available, people have registered, and there's confidentiality, and that has helped Sierra Leoneans them significantly. So with USAID now on hold and WHO with reduced funding, what are the implications? So the last item I'm going to talk about is dual citizenship. And this time, it's a misrepresentation. A lot of people, they go around, they say the American government want to take away dual citizenships from people who already travel and all of that stuff. I'm not a lawyer, but I've read a little bit about it to understand what the rules and regulations. So the first rule, countries have to agree to have dual citizenships. Okay? Countries have to agree. So the case where they go around right now with the Ivory Coast lady, Ivory Coast as a country not get a dual citizenship with America, or if they do, it's recent. But let's focus on Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone as a country get dual citizenship with the United States. And so because of that, Sierra Leoneans that will become US citizens get two passports. Get the Sierra Leone passport, they get the US passport. However, the US government make it clear, say if you take a passport, you have to swear allegiance so that America would be first in your priority, and then Sierra Leone will be second. And so if you are to travel, what did the US government say? The US government simply wants a proof when you leave America to go to Sierra Leone that you are exiting the right way. And then when you come back inside America, you should say you come back. So most people, when they travel, you should present both passports. In America, where you travel and show that you're a Sierra Leonean citizen and American citizen, and they stamp both and they record your exit. When you reach Salon, you have to present both passports. They stamp both. You're not going to pay for visa because you're a Sierra Leonean citizen. Upon your return, you use your Sierra Leone passport to come. You don't need yours. You use the American passport to leave Sierra Leone because it tells you you're coming to the US. However, if you leave the US on your Sierra Leone passport without showing the US passport, yes, as a Sierra Leonean, you have a right to exit America at any time and go to your country, which is what you're telling the US government. If you not declare, say you got a US passport, so you're not sure, say you may exit the US at any point in time. When you want to come back into the US, you want to come into entry, the question becomes, you know me ever left the US, why you want Kansai? Are you doing something illegal? And it is that issue that faced the lady in question, where everybody they pass around. I know the Trump administration don't get a lot of bad name on immigration and stuff, but for now, that issue is an issue that is a US immigration regulation, and people get to know that and to follow that. So the 6 or 7 issues that I wanted to address, I don't address them. The World Health Organization and the implication for Sierra Leone, the African Diaspora Conference and the African Leaders Conference of the White House, the immigration deportation of Sierra Leoneans, USAID, foreign aid and the MCC grant for Sierra Leone, the AIDS and PEPFAR issue and dual citizenship. I would just like to conclude. And this is a message to Sierra Leoneans and to our government. Sierra Leone is in a desperate economic situation right now. And also we have a political undercurrent. It will reach the time when we as Sierra Leoneans, including the government, therefore start to focus now on the needs of Sierra Leoneans. See, President Bio get for dinner power for the next 4 years, and President Trump get for dinner power for the next 4 years. They all two, they exit at the same time. If 2 weeks of President Trump don't create so much headache for Sierra Leone, you could imagine what would happen in the remaining 3 years, 11 months, and 2 weeks. 3 years, 11 months, and 2 weeks. It's going to get worse. For us, as Sierra Leoneans, Africans in general, but the implications are going to be very, very severe. So this is the time when all Sierra Leoneans get for come together. Follow we fix Salon. Let we join in as a nation, as one. Yes, we have our differences politically, but right now it's time to focus on being Sierra Leonean. And as I could always say, we're not going to ask. Waiting Sierra Leone don't do for we, but we should ask waiting we can do for Sierra Leone. Because if we do what we for do for Sierra Leone and left this mamikos politics, left this fete, left this undermining, left this badat, left all of these things, we would move forward. Yes, we have political differences, but this government is going to face economic difficulties because aid's not going to come through USAID. Aid's not going to come through WHO. If we have any major health disaster in Sierra Leone now, it's going to put so much pressure on the government because WHO does not have the funds to come in. It's been withheld in Washington. If we get any crisis with children malnourished and all of those stuff, AIDS would not come through USAID. And even if they open USAID moving forward, it's going to be limited resources being put into USAID. So as Sierra Leoneans and as the Sierra Leone government and to President Bio and his ministers, it's time that we calibrate our economy. It's time that we focus on national unity and peace. And it's time that we start bringing the right people who are qualified, meritocracy, to the table. People who could work and negotiate to build a strong economy, and people who could work to build an economy that could withstand the trauma, the volcanic eruption, and the hurricane and the earthquake leadership of Donald J. Trump on Africa and on Sierra Leone. It's going to reverberate on our economy and everything that we do. Immigration, health, economy, political, and all of that stuff. To my fellow Sierra Leoneans, I say, let we wake up. Let we fix we alone and let we come together. And let we put our political differences together to help build Sierra Leone. What has happened is in the past. And we should move together. All political parties and all come together and hope that we could build a better Sierra Leone. To you all, I say, Ohajumi. And we Ohajumi, which we always talk about in Hope for Youth. The H is for our hope, the O for opportunities, the H is for happiness. The A for accountability, the J for justice, the O for outreach, the M for meritocracy, and the E is for empowerment. God bless you. God bless our beautiful Sierra Leone. And God bless all of us. The land that we love so well, the green, the white, and the blue. Thank you.